How will All-Star Weekend pay huge dividends for the New Orleans Pelicans? Let's talk about it.
You must know that first. Can't nothing and nobody fade what we trying to do and what we about to do. Second thing is, we got this game on our level. You understand what I'm saying?
Welcome to a new episode of In Space. I'm your host, as always, Chris Connor. All-Star break is almost over. Happy Mardi Gras. Hope everybody's safe. Everybody's having a good time. Join the parade. And All-Star break is almost here. The first game out the break for the Pelicans is Thursday. But before we get there, I want to talk about All-Star Weekend, what just was, and how I think it should help the team and the individuals that were involved going forward, as the Pelicans are going to be reliant on, I think, a lot of different role players as they try to settle themselves within a jumbled Western Conference and maybe separate themselves. So let's get into it. Whether you missed it or you got a chance to see it all, the Pelicans had a few different entries in the Rising Stars contest. You saw Trey Murphy in the dunk contest. We know Zion was selected for the All-Star game, but of course, is still working his way back from a hamstring strain, and now a setback, wasn't able to play. And then CJ McCollum was even in the three-point shootout, but pulled out last minute, resting his wrist/hand injury. So for the players that were involved, we'll start off with Jose. Now, I think we know Jose's ability to impact games from an energy perspective. That's not really up for debate. He's scrappy, he's tough-minded, isn't gonna be held out of games for much, understands the ways to shift games with certain calls, certain whistles, and certain plays that establish momentum. And as has been talked about, for better or for worse, he's really the only true point guard that's currently on the team, depending on how you see Kira Lewis. But Kira's still working himself back. And his spot in the rotation, especially now with Josh Richardson continuing to, as the days go along, we don't know where that's going to stand. But Jose was in the Rising Stars game and even made a cameo in the dunk contest with Trey, which we'll get into. But he won MVP of that game and also had the game winner.
Benedict Mathurin, who's been phenomenal.
That was dope. And look, if you've seen some of the performances, I don't have to talk about them, but the career highs and some of the games in which he shifted just by being himself, having his jumper going, having the ability, or having the right mindset in regards to attacking the paint or making some plays defensively or getting some calls, made, whether it be drawing fouls on either side of the floor. Listen, we know what Jose can bring you, but we know we got to keep it a buck. Certain matchups, it's hard for him to make that same impact, right? And down the stretch, due to injuries, as we got closer to the final game against the Lakers, it was kind of hit or miss. The jump shot was here, then maybe it wasn't. You saw him being less effective than maybe you were kind of used to, just with putting the ball in the bucket. And look, he's dealt with a few different injuries this year. I thought weeks ago, maybe even months ago, right around that time that back-to-back in New Orleans happened against Phoenix, I remember I think I was talking to Chaz. I was like, man, Jose, one of those dudes, along with Larry, and now, of course, with CJ, that really, really, really needed the All-Star break, just needed that time off to kind of heal, and just needed a reset. And for Jose, this is his first real introduction to what an NBA season looks like. Last year, a full NBA season. Last year, he came, I think he really started to find his way in the rotation. What was it, late January, early February? It's different versus coming into a training camp, preseason, and then having a part of the rotation from the first game of the year in Brooklyn. It's just, that's different. Everybody mentally, while they may think that they're prepared for it, it's a grind, man. And I talk to a lot of people around the league about that. A lot of, a few different associates and parents involved with some young players around the league, and they would agree, like, even when you think you're ready, your body isn't always ready, especially, in some cases. One guy told me, he said, like, if you only play a portion of year one when you're in the NBA, year two is almost like, it's like you're still a rookie in some perspective. Your mind may be more matured in a sense, but your body still has some conditioning to do, which was interesting to me. But for Jose, you would hope that, we know he has his own shoe. We saw the love and the press runs he got last year after the playoff run. But now it's about production. It just is. He's been showing, the goal has been to show that he's not just a gimmick or a fun nickname or just a dude that's gonna be playing at the end of the bench. His goal now is to show, like, I'm gonna be in this league for 10 plus years. And being undersized, that means that, your margin for error sometimes, isn't what you would like it. It's not what it may be for someone who's 6'10". That's just the reality. So my hope on how I think it's going to help him is that, man, he got an opportunity. Jose talks about all the time how he didn't expect to be here. He didn't expect to be in this position. So now it's time to prove why you're here to stay. That's just it. And I think having an opportunity to play in that game, in that Rising Stars game, even if it's still a glorified all-star game of sorts for young players, but I think walking away with that MVP, being on that podium afterwards, with his daughter, being mic'd up, having everybody know who he is. There was points where the announcers aren't even calling him by his name. They're just saying Grand Theft. I think that's huge, man. More than likely have an opportunity to chop it up with a lot of different past and present players that he may look up to or has things that he wants to accomplish. Getting that advice, getting some of those jewels, I think could be big for him. And I mean, look, man, for a team that's going to have to kind of hit the ground running once games start again Thursday, I think that stage for him, could be a really good confidence builder and really kind of put things into perspective along with the rest. So shout out to Jose. Hope that continues as we go into the second half of the season, basically. That's not really the second half from a games perspective, but y'all know what I mean. Now we move to Trey Murphy. So it's interesting because I talked to somebody that's, really close to Trey a couple weeks ago and then some time before then. And one of the things I mentioned to him and which they agree with, and this is before I knew Jose was going. This is before I knew that Zion, was kind of up in the air. We knew that he was pushing to play in the All-Star game, and then slowly it started looking like he might actually be able to play, but then he got the setback. But we talked about how I said, man, All-Star Weekend is going to help. If no one else, it's going to help Trey Murphy the most. It's just the reality, because the fan base, some of the media, they talk often when they critique Trey. They talk often about intent. They talk often about confidence. They talk often about him using his advantages night to night, regardless of what's around him on his team or who he's going against. And I can't speak for someone else's confidence. I can't speak for someone else's, I can assume, but I can't verify that necessarily. But what I will say is, if you know Trey's journey, coming out of high school, I talked to his dad last year, and it was like, man, Trey, another dude, he didn't expect to be here. I mean, it's one reason he went to Rice, like that was just the truth. And then going from Rice to Virginia, now things start to pick up. You start to get momentum towards, man, I might be in the league. Oh, I might be a lottery pick. Oh, I'm playing. I'm a part of a playoff team, And all these guys, Herb, Dyson, Trey, Jose, Kyra, like they're all still developing in a lot of different ways. 3 years from now, they won't look the same physically or mentally as the dude you're looking at today. But Trey Murphy is one of the most important players on this team. When he plays well, good Trey Murphy games should 9 times out of 10 give you victories. That's just what his shooting, his ability, at his size to, hopefully get to the rim, the best free throw shooter on the team. And if he's having a good game defensively, it helps this team, especially when you look at some of the issues that appear to be in play with the offense sometimes, how stagnant it is, how isocentric it can be. Trey's ability to shoot and make something out of nothing when attacking the rim, sometimes maybe off closeouts, whatever the case may be, can be important. He hits a few of those shots in that Laker game, for example. Instead of going, I think he finished 0 for 6. Maybe that makes a difference in that game to keep the Pelicans around longer. But you see, the night before, or the game before against Oklahoma City, where, I think he finished 3 for 12, whatever the case may be, he made shots to answer runs from Oklahoma City. 30-footers, he made some impact defensively, I think with a few steals, a couple blocks in that game. Just his mind was in the right place, regardless of if the ball was going through the hoop as many times as he wanted it to be. The Laker game was totally different. So similar to Jose, man, being in that spotlight, having a spotlight on you, not on your teammates, not on people that you shared a rookie class with, not on, people from this rookie class, not on Brandon, not on Zion, not on CJ, on you. He got a spotlight of his own during the dunk contest, during the Rising Stars game. We got this. Hold on, Juvie would have something to say about that. Time out.
It's all about athletes and athletics. We controlling this shit, and that's how we feel from the heart.
Yeah, so, you look at just having the ability or the opportunity to be around so many different individuals that have been in your position, that are in your position, that have different skill sets that you have from past and present. People, it's different if Trey gets it, if his dad is telling him something good, or his mom is telling him, or, his teammates, or he hears it from, one of us, or he hears it from media members, whatever the case, fans, like, that's different versus hearing it from your peers, the people that put in the same work that you put in daily. They're saying, hey, bro, you nice. Hey, man, like, this is your ceiling. Hey, don't be shy out there. Put the ball up. Hey, you gonna be a really important piece of this team for years to come. Like this and that. Trey may believe it, he may know it, but I think sometimes, man, just getting those positive reinforcements and just being in a weekend where you're just reminded of what you can do, it can allow your mind to reset, and maybe bring a different approach when the season resumes here. And Pelicans are gonna need it. They're gonna need it because I don't know when CJ's wrist or hand's gonna be 100%. Brandon's toe might not be 100% ever again. Like, you don't know, and we don't know when Zion is going to return. Role players like Trey, you are going to need to bring it and to bring their game consistently, even against the weakest schedule left in the league. If the Pelicans are gonna create some separation between them and some other teams. And then I want to speak quick on Zion. Look, another setback, I think his third official setback that has been announced as he's dealt with injuries in the league. And look, he pushed so hard to get back to that All-Star game, bro. He pushed so hard. I think he had to play, the agreement, he had to play a couple games, 3 games. I think that was the agreement with the coaching staff or medical staff, whatever it was, for him to play in the All-Star game. And he looked like he was on his way back. He progressed to 3-on-3s, and then boom, it's done. It's over with. Now you're back to missing a month at least. We'll see how that progresses. But we know what setbacks have done to him before. We know what a setback last year did for him. It hurt him, and mentally he was going through it. So I think that in the midst of all of this, because this happened right before, I think the final couple games were to be played in the week of All-Star Weekend. Hey man, like you could be looking at this if you're Zion and back, say, here we go again, back in a tough space. We don't know. We really don't know how he's taking all of this again. But again, having the opportunity, as soon as that injury hits, having your name recognized, having people not forget about you simply because you were going to be in the All-Star game. We heard comments about maybe being in a slam dunk contest in 2024. All of that is cool. But hopefully his opportunity to be around or to hear from so many past stars, future stars, present players, maybe guys that dealt with hamstring strains like his, maybe that dealt with other injuries, they can consistently tell him, hey man, look, you're going to be all right. You're going to be back this year, but this is what you need to do. I'm sure he's hearing it from the medical staff. The reality is it sometimes advice hits different when it comes from, a peer than it does, or a friend than it does from someone who's supposed to tell you something. Or someone is hired to tell you something. It just hit the same when a peer is telling you, this is what you need to do. This is how you do it. You'll be back soon. Try it this way. You maybe went too aggressive the first time, young fella. This is what you need to do this time. Take it easy a little bit. Hey, try to put this in your body. Try this form of rehab. Try this, try that. All those things. And in the midst of people saying, hey, bro, you was on a heck of a run. You continue that, you come back, that team gonna be dangerous. We said enough. The ifs about health is echoed throughout the fan base every single day. So much that people are tired of saying it. They're tired of hearing about ifs when it comes to health. You've been talking about that with this franchise since they came back to New Orleans, or since they arrived in New Orleans. This franchise, but people around the league don't look at the Pelicans in the same way. This more so, it's disappointment around this team getting healthy, but it's also like, ooh, if they get healthy, and Zion is the biggest piece of that. He simply is. And I hope that All-Star Weekend, as he's rehabbing, as he's working himself back, as he's trying to heal up again for the biggest part of the season, the biggest stretch of the season, I hope even if it was one person to tell him, hey man, you're gonna be okay. I went through something similar. You'll be fine. This is how you do it. You'll be back in no time. Whatever it was, I hope that's gonna be a big piece for him going forward. And man, look, time flies, and you can't necessarily count on him returning. You never know. But if things go well, you're looking at a middle March, somewhere around that time, him to return. And you want to keep him in the most of positive spirits, because look, man, I don't know. I've seen it with so many different players, Derrick Rose, Grant Hill. Like eventually, man, you continue to get these injuries that keep you out for long periods of time, and injuries that setbacks and so on and so forth. It's draining. It takes a toll on a person. Hopefully with Zion, just even a few different positive comments from people that he looks up to, or for guys around the league in person, just that energy can be a reset or a driving force, or just something helpful going forward. As we've been talking about since the offseason, if the Pelicans are going to accomplish even some of their goals, they're going to have to do it with a healthy Zion and a Brandon and a CJ and company. So before we get out of here, man, I do want to get some love here to our sponsor. You see Boot Crew. You see DraftKings at the bottom there. The promo code is Boots. The promo, I believe, is still 5 for $150. Could be 200 again. It's up to you to find out. Look, man, open up your phone if you're not a member. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up. Use that code. We gonna look out for you. You need some advice on betting? DM me. I'll help you out. It's not that hard. Put you through a little tutorial. We family. But This podcast is sponsored by Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Buku Media, located at 918 Porter Street by the Superdome. Give them a call at 504-523-5413. If you or someone you know has been involved in an accident, and be sure to mention we sent you. Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Buku Media. So, yo, man, like, share, subscribe. I want y'all to get in the comments. Tell me who you think All-Star Weekend, or just the break in total, who is it going to help the most? Who are you most excited to watch coming out the break? And tell me some of the moments that, you know, you found most exciting, whether it was Pelicans related or not. I hope that we're looking at a very exciting break. I'm ready to watch the team play again. I get it. I'm ready for the break to be done. It's time to see the Pelicans play again. And I'm more positive than maybe some in regards to what this team can look like. Not even including the schedule. I think this team needed a break, and I'm hoping, or I'm cautiously optimistic that they'll hit the ground running as soon as Thursday against Toronto. So, yeah, man, that's it. Happy Mardi Gras once again. Be safe. Enjoy yourself. Keep your clothes on. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to do all that for beads and coconuts and everything. Keep your clothes on. That's you know what I'm saying? I ain't got to get into that. Najee, get us out of here.
In the building. I told you last time, get with us or get out of here, man.
Peace out.